And now, our feature presentation.
You are watching a master at work.
So I'll hear people say, if you believe it. No matter what, even if you're not going to win, you got to fight. Go get some!
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Combat Club. This is the episode number 24 of the Combat Club, along with my co-host, Zenith, and a special guest, Max, because this is going to be like a special preview, not only for UFC 308 between Ilia Topuiria versus Max Holloway, but also we got a special review of the TNA Bound for Glory 2024. Because buckle up, because it's going to be like a great impact weekend for the mixed martial arts and, of course, for the wrestling. So I just wanted to tell you, thank Max for joining us for this special episode. I know the first topic is going to be something incredible at the wrestling.
Anytime,
So first and foremost, we got to talk about, okay. Oh, sorry about that. And right now, the first topic we're talking about, like the Bound for Glory 2024. Now, for this moment, I think this matchup between for this card, I mean, this is gonna be blow up the mind. Yep. And we just see look at our opponents right now. So we just gotta look at an important matches by for Bound for Glory. But at this point right now, it seems that everything's gonna be really fine because they have a matchup coming up there between for Nick Nemeth versus Joe Hendrick for the championship. Now,
dude, you don't say his name. He might show up.
Oh, you really show up?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you get the joke, though.
Yep. But I know it's going to be like a really important for the matches. So I know that the first one is going to be really important. So this one is going to be called Shot Gauntlet. Also, they had Nick Nemeth versus Joe Hendrick for the World Championship. Also, we got Mark Cardona versus PCO, Mike Santana versus Muse. Also, Jordan Grace versus Marcus Stanovich, Mike Bailey versus El Hijo del Vikingo, Josh Alexander versus Steve Macklin. So right now, Seth, I just wanted to talk about it between for these Bound for Glory impact. So do you know that anything could happen in this match, including for like the epical one, which is Nick Nemeth versus Joe Hendrick for the World Championship? What highest perspective is going to be like in this championship between, because they have a severe like a great career, because Nick Nemeth as known as Dolph Ziggler for the WWE, and of course Joe Hendrick, not only he just being part of like the TNA, but also at the WWE NXT. So what highest expectations is going to be looking at this match between Nick Nemeth versus Joe Hendrick?
If one were to ask me, it all boils down to the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. We know Frankie Kazarian is going to be in that match. If he wins it, you know he's going to be like a vulture ready to strike. He don't give a damn who wins that match as long as he gets to burn the Call Your Shot trophy immediately after and then pick the bones of whoever the winner is. Whether it's Nemeth or Hendry, he doesn't care.
Well, sounds fair enough. But also, I really expected it because this is going to be like the highest achieve that no one see that come, because I know that at some point it's going to be like the highest grossing of the event. Now, between for the difference between WWE, AEW as LA Wrestling, and the total non-stop wrestling, which is they have the highest grossing of the wrestling events. But it seems that this year, Bound for Glory, they're going to take over like the wrestling movement, the wrestling glory, because they just brought like a lot of great attention, not only between for the rookie, the veteran wrestlers, but it seems that the Bound for Glory, it seems that they got a take it along for the competition, what is happening for between for AEW, WWE. It seems that there's a lot of competition right there when it comes to pay-per-view.
Well, you gotta remember, in the case of the WWE, PLEs on a streaming platform do come with a caveat that customers
Mhm.
are only paying for them once every month. Pay-per-views like AEW and TN pay-per-view based companies like AEW and TNA, on the other hand, they get more money for people that buy the shows, but as a trade-off, it's less convenient because you're still on a pay-per-view setup. True, TNA also has their own independent streaming platform, TNA Plus,
Yeah.
but you'd still end up having to pay the full pay-per-view price for those events as a trade-off.
Yeah, exactly.
If we're
Exactly. But
looking at looking at the rest of the card, just think about it. PCO against Matt Cardona in a Monsters Ball for both the digital media and international heavyweight wrestling titles. It's going to be a bloodbath, but I wouldn't be surprised if the one linchpin that ties those two together, Steph DeLander, ends up turning on her kayfabe husband, PCO, and going back to Matt Cardona because the contract that they signed when they joined TNA basically makes Steph Cardona's property, which is a very poor way to treat a woman, I might want to point out.
that really sounds fair. But I think that it'll be considered like the business and the opinion. I mean, this is gonna be like a chasing after the biggest show. For those who don't know about this, because there is something about for the new, they didn't even know because they're referred as the biggest band of the year for TNA. It's one of the four TNA's per view, according for all the sources, including Slammiversary. Because if you remember the WWE, they just got WrestleMania, Survivor Series, or the Rumble, and of course they got SummerSlam. For AEW is Double or Nothing. Also, they just got well, basically just a very
Double or
same, but
Nothing,
mhm,
Revolution, All Out,
yep,
and then maybe you could say Full Gear.
yeah, Full Gear. Also, there's got All In, All Out, but it really helps the wrestling community. But I think the card is literally look great, but it's gonna be on Detroit, but this is gonna be a hell out of the fight because they're thinking about they're really gonna really attend for the it's gonna be the first event or if it's gonna be crowd because they're anticipated to go to the sell out. It's all about for the business, but the talent is gonna witness one of the biggest moments. But it seems that we have a great opportunity to see the rookie and veterans, but also what are those matches that we also wanted to take care of about it is the system. Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards, also the Hardys, Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy versus Ace Austin, Chris Bay, and those were the full metal mayhem match for
Which
the
is basically
World Tag
TNA's
Team.
answer to a TLC.
Yeah, yeah, basically it's a copy for the TLC. But for those who know about the full metal mayhem is kind of a feature because the remember the first time that I was against all odds in 2005 because they just wanted to the defeat to retrieve a contract. But if you see at the full metal mayhem, it's just exactly like tables, ladders, and chairs. We've been seeing all this trick, but the first time we to see between Jeff Hardy versus Abims, and the last time we to see very important, which is Frankie Karasavian versus Eric Young, which is our rebellion in Paradise, Nevada. So I think it's gonna be a great match, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of veterans who seems running off of the contract. Just like for example, Mark Cardona. Also, there's Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, and also it's really very complicated because they just wanted to to receive the last years to get involved with his career.
Mhm. And then you have other matches that on paper would be a great high flyer spectacle for the X Division title. Bailey, who I ran into last week at the Deadlock show, against El Hijo del Vikingo.
Yep.
Oh, mostly known from, I guess, your favorite wrestling promotion, the AAA promotion.
Oh yes. Yeah, it is. And I see what the title was coming up there. But you know, I personally there is a one match that I would love to get into it. But between for El Hijo del Vikingo, I mean, he's got a very great talent. And I would love to see because call your shot gauntlet, which is very interesting and a lot of the confusion because there's like a 20 persons receive like a trophy and a contract, and they can invoke anytime which 1 year championship match are they choosing. So I thought this is gonna be like a weird idea to like the TNA because it's something like a gauntlet for the call the shots, but I know that the first time it became like in Bound for Glory, which is the winner was Edwards, and the last one, which is Jordan Grace. And he became like a #1 contender for any championship of the winner's choosing. So basically, because it's like at a Royal Rumble, when it comes to like the first contender match to become like a champion versus challenger, I mean,
Well, you
I can
have
be
to,
happy.
well, you have to remember, Raph,
Mhm.
you don't always have to go for the world title if you win this. Go back to
Oh, yeah.
2020. Rhino won it, and he opted to go for a tag title shot.
That sounds fair. Well, that sounds really fair enough. But also, we just have like at another match, which is a Monster Ball match for the Digital Media Championship International Heavyweight PCO versus Mark Cardona. Now, basically, I mean, Mark Cardona, it became like the king of the death match because during Fidal's career as an indie match, I mean, he became like a phenomenal, sensational. Because if you guys remember Zack Ryder for the WWE, and then he became to like a one-time Intercontinental Championship, also for the United States champion. I mean, for the Monsters Ball match, because we're almost there for very close to the Halloween, but it seems that the Monsters Ball match it became something very important, and I think that Mark Cardona give it like a great example in how those indie wrestlers can be involved with like chasing like a dream or a title, everything like that.
True. But when you
Mhm.
look at it, you got to remember how this thing is set up. Both men are going to be locked in separate parts of the
Mhm.
basement. No food, no exposure to sunlight, no water for 24 hours. Once their match shows up in the card, they're going to be let loose. They're going to be agitated. They're going to be exhausted. They're going to want to kill. They're going to be out for blood. I mean, who knows how it's going to play out? I mean, then there's one of the other matches that intrigues me on the card, Knockouts title. Masha Slamovich against Jordan Grace. And I mean, personally, if you're going to take the belt off Jordan, you got to do it at Bound for Glory. You can't drag it out any longer. The run's gone a little stagnant with Jordan. We need a new champion, and we need it now.
Yep, that is true enough. But of course, I mean, Jordan Grace, I mean, she was like the champion. And I would love to see like it involve like the champion versus challenger. I mean, Jordan Grace versus Marsha Slamovich. I mean, they got like at a very good enough for like the storyline coming out there. And I just realized that something is gonna be really realistic. I mean, if you see like at a two women's wrestling, I mean, everything could happen at all because like the technique and it seems like at a championship knockout. But if you see like at a there's nothing about like a Rock of the Wall they're not very crossing it all right now, but it seems that all that happens in that match, all that happens to the storyline before for the Bound of Glory, it became something like a somewhat like the chaos, something like that. But it's getting like at the very mad because that was like at the very peak at all. Because
And
the world champ, yeah, because the world champ, the top challenger, like the second segment to set it up because then the best heel in the company is very struggling to get him bitten off. So I know that Marsha will be back to the evil ways because Jolene this stole the peel, this stole the peel in the opening match, and given like it a everything's given it them for like scrambling to like it a once like it a building and the people were supposed to like everything not to being there, but wasn't like the best show, but by only by wide margin.
then you have the women's tag title match, Spitfire against Rosemary and NXT's Wendy Chu. I'm not gonna lie, the duo of Rosemary and Chu just creep me out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially if you were at last night's NXT watch party, which you missed again.
Oh
Right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Chu stuffed Tam Paxley into an equipment trunk.
Mm, I mean, that sounds fair. That really sounds fair enough. But basically, I mean, they're planning to do like it is something about for like those wrestlers. I mean, it will be like it definitely feel the need like to get the iron out of the car with all the segments. I mean, I'm very interested in what they do and about for like the division title if they put it on the line for the next week. I mean, between for like this card, I mean, they're looking for like a very good card, but they're really looking forward to all of these matches they're in so far. But seems like it to some persons is slightly over dramatic if they draw the lane based march again. But of course, like the attack team, I mean, on the other hand, because they give like the same thing, just like in a not show, not getting very mad, but it seems that all with the trains about that it's kind of like very announced for this one, but boy, what can I tell her about it? If they all for like seems like the only not bearing crossing it out, I mean, very
Before
knowledge about this one.
we
Mhm.
continue, there is a bit of an elephant from tonight's Dynamite taping I need to address.
Oh yes.
Whose
Yeah.
fucking idea was it to put the Ring of Honor World title back on Jericho?
Yep.
Seriously, whose idea was it? Seriously, Tony, are you really this stupid and desperate to put that belt back on Jericho? Nobody wanted that belt on him the first time, and nobody wants it on him now. If Briscoe gets his rematch at Final Battle in a cage and then gets the belt back, then so fucking be it. Hell, do it in a fight without honor. I don't care at this point. Tony Khan's lackluster and apathetic booking of ROH content has killed a promotion I once loved.
Yep. Yeah, man. Speaking about for like the Tony Khan, because what I was just like pretty much and all, but the real problem about like the company about for like the All Elite and a lot what you say is very right because the problem is Tony Khan completely killed like the mid card and of course it became like an now assistant. I mean, I don't know what is wrong but to put like another one for Jericho. I mean, it probably because they had a ridiculous propensity to utilize the wrestling legends as an mid card workhorses. But with the came to All Elite Wrestling, first starting Tony Khan actually had to book some thought rather relying on popping smarts and outside signings. But if you had young, talented wrestlers wrestling enough into the car, it had the same included the steel pins, it went hardly too much. Take it for example, Sammy Guevara.
Killed WCW.
Yep. And of course, there is like examples. Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, Scorpius Card. Also, there's Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, especially over the last year. I mean,
Garcia.
Yep. Also, especially for the last year, however, there should all of the TV time that it should be like going for the next crop of the mid card aces, just like Nick Wayne, Hook, Ryan Kidd, or whatever could physically put in a position to work intensely the matches. Could be interesting enough. But the session that happened a 50-year picking up meaningless wins every week it started for the regular year. It honestly it made it worse. And the fact that Rhodes, Copeland rarely lose would do it. I mean, it's like Tony can do simple math and just realize that less than half of the main audience that just watch Rampage and Collision, but a lot of younger talent they're featuring, and even that, the weird times they do the period on the Dynamite, they're almost getting loose at all because the booking problem is the at the post because the mid card is too big. You have Bryan Danielson, Copeland, Okada, Ospreay, Zerb, to be a band, wrestling competitive matches with that talent that it should be like at the mid card because you should really those competitive matches to build stars. But it seems that is the only guy, which is John Moxley, that is really protected and just wanted to trade to make losers to him means something like solidify MGF or Adam Page as a real event players. But seems that there's gonna be like something to elevate. But I think that Tony Khan, he doesn't seem to improve. But Tony Khan, if you listen to this, you're the real problem to kill not only ANEW, but the only problem is killing WCW. And I don't think it's gonna be fit enough to get to this company.
Anyway, getting back on topic, you then have a grudge match between Mike Santana and Moose, and a grudge match between Josh Alexander and Steve Macklin. Do I expect interference in both matches? Yes.
Yep. I mean, there seems like it'll be between for Mike Santana versus Muse. I mean, if you see Santana, because it's probably like everything can have it because he's from New York. I mean, the first time that I just saw for like that Impact Wrestling, I mean, that guy means like really talent. But I think that Tony Khan used like a worthless, like, I don't know, between for all the like wrestling between for 2019, 2024. But he returns to the rebellion and say, I'm gonna stay for like as long as I could happen. Because I think that Impact Wrestling became like his first home to get involved like his career. And he just won like the tag team of the year with Ortiz and the GFW Tag Team Championship and the World Tag Team Championship. I mean, this guy has a lot of talent. But when it comes to Moose, I mean, he's just like the former professional footballer. I mean, he became like a core for the system. He plays at the defensive lineman, but you know, not only professional wrestlers have a lot of great curriculum as a professional football players, because we know that exactly what is gonna happen to the point. And it seems that this battle could be like at a mid card or something like a lackluster, but don't be very surprised between for Mike Santana and Moose could be like a game changer.
Mm-hmm. And as far as I'm concerned, Ern, I still have one other question with Nemeth against Hendry. Aside from what we know Kazarian will pull, we got another outside issue we got to deal with. That being the former JBL, now simply known as John Layfield. Whose side is he on? Nemeth's or Hendry's?
Yep, exactly. But thinking about it like the talent of Joe Hendry, because I know that his catchy song became like the most charted, but I think he needs to like get involved like into something about for his career. I mean, it's not that very annoying, but I know that the song is very catchy at all. But the talent you reflect like this so far, but it seems that probably most charismatic, interesting guy for these promos those days. But his ring work isn't not that very spectacular, but worry about like losing out there. I mean, that should be like a worry about like this career. And I know he's got a lot of charisma going up there, but it seems that he needs to get work on the ring side because we know that Nick Nemeth, as known as Dolph Ziggler, has a lot of great experience when it comes to like the ring, to the mic, even though he has a lot of great rivalries. But they say because it's always had to be the same about it because he's like a solid entertainer and he's always kind of like not getting like to work rate style of the wrestling more. But if they know it has been like a while since we have an actual personality of wrestling, but it seems that a very more acceptable, but it seems that he needs to get to work a lot more for the ring style and of course his movements, because you gotta be careful about for like Nick Nemeth. I mean, he's known for like the being a veteran, and he knows how to go for this one. Because if you remember for like Raw 2022, which is like 12, I mean, if you remember like the comeback between of all like after WrestleMania, he just beat it off Alberto Del Rio, and he became like one of the most successful wrestlers. And Joe Hendrick need to be like really careful around for like the career of the rookie and of course for the veteran. Yep. And I think that between for like the car for the Bound for Glory, I mean, that should be like a really interesting about for this one. But after which was one of to talking about like the Bound for Glory, which Matt's given like a great point about for like the main card, and of course, like a lot of opinion for like the Dynamite and all the situation of Tony Khan. So after that, because that weekend it should be like a really interesting for the wrestling. Right now, it just seemed like the Halloween haybuck for the NXT. Now, this is gonna be like a really interesting one because it seems that they gotta prepare for anything could happen. So the main expectation is about like the Halloween haybuck of the NXT during for this year.
Yeah, you did great breakdown, man. That was amazing.
Thanks.
Yep. All
Look
right.
at
So we just wanted to kick it off for this match right now. All right. So right now we just got like a few matches to get involved with this one. So first and foremost, we got Williams versus Ethan Page. Spin the wheel, make the deal. Devil's Playground match. Also, we got Tony D'Angelo as known as the Stacks versus Alba Femi. Roseanne Paris versus Cora J versus Julia versus Stephanie Biker. And Rich Holland versus Andre Chase. And Kelani Jordan versus Fallon Henley, JC Jr. or Jasmine Nitz. To be spin the wheel, make the deal, spin her choice to be like the NXT War North American Championship. And I'm
I
gonna
will say
tell you,
this. I will say this real
yep,
fast, Raphael. You guys are doing such a great job, and I am kind of sidetracked right now, babysitting. That's why my camera is off. But that
uh-huh,
being said, man, you guys are doing an amazing show. I'm just gonna actually head out because I do have to go do something. I'm sorry that I can't appear longer on the show as I wanted to. But that being said, thank you, Mets, for coming on this episode. I know I'm
well,
sorry for you too that I can't stay longer than I wanted to. But that being said, you guys
okay,
are doing such an amazing job that I am actually gonna step away. That being said, I will probably be back on the Combat Club going forward next week, Wednesdays, and going forward after that. I just want to shout out my co host above me, Raphael, for holding it down week in and week out due to my absence. I will say this, though, real fast. Go Max Holloway. I know he is fighting this weekend. I know the boys are going to do an excellent job of breaking it down after they talk wrestling. That being said, man, I'm just gonna say Max Holloway's fighting. I'm gonna go for him. Shamaya's fighting, and Leon Murphy. Those are the three fighters that I'm gonna keep an eye on this weekend, alongside Shawa Magomedov. That being said, I'm gonna turn the mic back over to Raphael as they break down this NXT Halloween event. Happy Halloween to you, Mets. If I don't talk to you, I'll be further. And hopefully, you have a good time with your family and your friends. I'll probably catch you on one of these Big Blue Crew streams. And thank you, Raphael, for hosting the podcast like always and holding it down, man. You guys have a blessed
yep,
evening, man, and bless
exactly.
up. Absolutely,
All
man.
right,
All
all
right,
right, have
boys.
a
You guys
good
have a
one.
good one. Let's get it.
Yep,
okay.
yeah,
Look,
yeah, let's, yeah,
look
okay.
at
So, Matt's,
look at looking at
mhm,
the Halloween Havoc card. Trick
yeah,
against Page, Devil's Playground. That just means there's going to be a slew of weapons laying around the ring, appropriately themed for like a satanic slaughterhouse. I don't know, maybe a board stuck with wooden nails attached to it, barbed wire wrap 2x4s and bats, steel chairs, tables, you name it, they'll be in it. One thing that does bug me is the stipulation for the North American title tables, ladders, and scares match. Why make the stipulation where you can only win by a pinfall instead of just getting up a ladder and getting the belt down? That's stupid.
yeah, it seems very fair enough. But also, we just kind of look at another match between for Tony D'Angelo versus Ola Femi. Now, that I just saw because I just messed up the NST because I was like controlling the settings and the live streams for this week. And I apologize because I was not being able of NST. But between for Tony D'Angelo versus Ola Femi, I mean, this is gonna be like a really interesting at all. Because after that I just saw, because remember that I just really told that, well, between for along with Channing Stack Lorenzo as a tag team championship, now he has the opportunity to go out there and get into the gold. I mean, after that, I just saw for like between for the storyline. I mean, this is gonna be like something interesting because the last time that I just saw for like Tony D'Angelo, I mean, he has the very caliber to be like a great champion. And I think this is movements, and I think like style, and of course Lorraine, and of course in the make style. I mean, it doesn't get him like very boring at all. Because the last time that I just saw between for the NST Chesterfield, which is like a great part when it comes to Randy Orton. I mean, the talent of Tony D'Angelo, it seems like there's nothing really compared about this. But they need to really careful about like Femi. I mean, Femi is gonna be like already with a gold because it's gonna be like between tables, ladders, and cheers. I mean, over Femi, I mean, they really had to be careful at all because this talent is not that very unique on the race style. I mean, those movements, I mean, it's gonna be really knocked them out.
Mm-hmm. But how will it play out? Who knows? I mean, you still got 3 other matches. Can you hit my button, hit my screen?
All right. So I just wanted to tell it on the screen right now, and there you go.
Thanks. And then you've got this whole tag match where for Julia and Fakir, it's mostly about getting their hands on Roxanne, putting her down, and then one of them getting another crack at the NXT Women's title, while neutralizing Cora Jade at any all costs. Because if you remember, the NXT CW premiere in Chicago, it was because of Cora that Roxanne was able to sneak out with the title in hand still. And much like how I get the whole heel knee interference or taking shortcuts to hold on to gold is part of the shtick. But if you drag it out too long, the joke gets old. It's why I always wanted to. I screamed every time Roman Reigns held on the title by hook or crook during years 2 and 3 of the stint. And to the point where I want the bloodline to be disbanded. It's similar now with Roxy. She's gone from the plucky babyface champ to an arrogant heel bitch.
Wow. It is true. It is absolutely true.
She's only held the belt
but also,
a third of the time Roman held his. Or at the very
I mean,
least,
there is no doubt about it. Yep. I mean, there is no doubt about it. Also, we just kind of like a Rich Holland versus Andre Chase. So I know that it's gonna be like really important because it's gonna be like an ambulance match. Now, when it comes to like an ambulance match, I remember about like all these things along with Kane, but it seems that Rich Holland versus Andre Chase, this is gonna be like a
Chase feeling like Holland stabbed. He took the offer of atonement and redemption that Chase University was going to give him when he was demoted back down to NXT when the Brawling Brutes disbanded, and spit on it like it was dirt.
Yep, exactly. But it seems that they haven't get enough of like this talent. But you see, because after that, I just saw for like the ambulance match between Rich Holland versus Andre Chase. I mean, they're gonna possibly like there's nothing kind of wrong about it, but it seems that well, nothing that can stop it right now. But if something like really good enough for like the talent, and of course, like they just wanted to see like how in the hell we're gonna pull on this one or the ambulance match because there's gonna be like a huge factor for the cause of like the discussion. But it seems that if they had a go for like the rivalry for the storyline, I mean everything could happen. Yep, everything gonna happen. And the last match for the Halloween Havoc is gonna be Kalani Jordan versus Phelan Medley. Also, there's Jason Chain or Jasmine Nitz for the NXT Women's North American Championship. Now, if they're gonna make it like
Problem
a deal
is,
for this,
you don't know which one of the 3 of fatal influence is going to be. How are they going to determine? Draw a straw, flip a coin? I mean, I know it said spinner's choice, but they didn't even give us a choice before NXT cut off and whatever her name, Zaraya showed up.
Yep. I mean, you got it right. You got a point. And it seems that because right now it's gonna be 3 huge matches, whether it comes to like the pay-per-view. But I really understand that why did it should be like at all did it like these matches it becomes something really important. But the magic, it doesn't really stop it about it. If they wanted to keep like moving up this, I mean, there's like a lot of competitions up there. Is even Cora or Sarah that's getting really chosen, but it's just like the woman's title. But I'm all getting really expected what's gonna happen to Trinidad because I mean if Roseanne Perez and Cora Jade and it's gonna be like because it's gonna be like a team 20 era one. I mean, they're just like really carved out, but is it either the cover that gets chosen? It's gonna be the chosen because sometimes Yabi's choice is the wrong choice, but I have a feeling because choosing someone that's not part of the fatal influence to face Kiliani for the North American title, it might be overthinking about it. So the logical play will like at a trio one handicap and certain type of the match. There are lots of the members of the title, but we already visited that night. But it comes to like a Stephanie and Julia tag match, and it will be like an mighty employee is helping to stick it up for the face team.
True.
They're gonna be let's take it on with it. But it's not very obvious because they're getting like very close so that they could put it on the odds or the favor. Then they made like even like a trio one handicap match because the women's division featured 4 matches, including like the opening and the main event. All 4 women that they killing of the work. I mean, they're really coming along for lately, not only for like this band, but they have a lot of moments. But they doesn't like very good at all through like the like Zizor with a nice step ball. But I mean, if they want to like getting ready to offer this with the usual persona, but he couldn't like it down for like the main roster, even though it's gonna be like more of the heel character.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, what I just wanted to talk about, I mean, that could be like anything could have happened. So, and I just wanted to tell you, Mr. Matt, thanks for joining us for this episode of the Combat Club because right now it seems we're talking about like a lot of wrestling and of course with about the glory between for anything for the Halloween Haybuck. So right now I just wanted to tell you, so right now your next live stream is gonna be like a worst series between for like the Yankees versus Los Angeles Dodgers, and you have probably like the next live stream talking about for like the wrestling along with Mega Mets.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's check them out right now. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about like this one, but I know it's gonna be like a run it off at a time, but I know it's gonna be like a really important right now. But you know, Matt, how I appreciate about it. So I just wanted to clutter it off the show right now with my quick takes and about it. So thanks for joining us at the Mets, and I hope you see you there next time.
I gotta go to bed anyway.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so salute to you, Matt, and I hope you see you there next time. Yep. And that was Matt's for example. So I know that I got it for myself right now, but don't be afraid about it because I know there's gonna be like a preview between for like TNA Bound from Glory and of course for the UFC 308, which it means is gonna be like a really important. So I know it's gonna be like a really interesting right now. So you might know it's gonna be like a really careful, but right now I'm probably gonna take it on my last takes because this is like the preview between TNA Bound from Glory and of course the Halloween Haybuck, and last but not least, they got UFC 308, and of course the situation about for like, well, it's honeycomb for everything. I mean, between for those fights that I was looking for the 308 between Max Holloway versus Ilia Topuiria and Kazmachi Bay versus Robbie Whittaker. I mean, it takes like a lot of serious things. Where there comes anything could happen because that main card it looks very solid, but it seems that it takes like a lot of great things to see like a banger after banger after banger after banger. I mean, that gotta be like a really enough for this. I mean, that should be like really enough. And I didn't catch it about all these comments right now. So the Leprechaun and EFC, I thought it was tonight, but you know, it just makes it a lot. But I know that it's coming to fans right now, but yep. Also, we got the innovators in the building. Also, we got a new one. Russell Loves. How's it going? Different in right now. So I gotta tell you for the quick takes between the UFC Trio 8, which is gonna be like an absolutely banger at all. So I'm gonna tell like the co-main event and the main event. So probably I'm gonna talk like it for like a lot of minutes gonna end up there like that. But you know, between for Max Holloway versus Ilia Topuiria, I mean, this one is gonna blow up their mind. Blow up their mind. I mean, and I believe it real seriously. I mean, those guys they give like a lot of great things, but when it comes to like Hawaiian Warrior versus the Spanish Warrior. I mean, there is like a great chance at it all. But you gotta check this out. Ilia Topuiria has received like a lot of hype Twitter on knocking out Bulk. But I think that a lot of those persons wasn't that surprised for that finish. I mean, Alexander Volkanovski has a burly finish at a less than 4 mounts and probably like a welding one side that'll be down. He should be like have rest of fire array longer than we know would like to stay active. But before the knockdown, Ball was finding success with a jab. I mean, the Sterling was doing like everyone knows. Now, to the flip side, we all know that Master has credentials. Every opponent has faced over the last 5 years. It has been top 5 or top 10. He's most impressed when it came like 6 months ago with his manager, Justin Gage. I mean, the top 3 lied with the title shot, but people that used it, he hasn't fought anymore. Like argument against Topuria before the damage. But considerably, as long as very enough with this, I mean, that could be happening. Anything can happen. I mean, they're just gonna use it at all. We're just gonna use it at all. But it seems there's no issue about like the grappling and striking, everything. I mean, between for all these great 2 fighters, Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. I mean, there has to be a potential to be the fight of the year. All you anticipate that a matchup between for Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway is gonna be finally here, and it's had that all the signs to be like classic title fight. Topuria is 15-0 for the UFC. Call me crazy, but after a knockout, fan favorite Bulk, that cocky trash talking featherweight champion is now the top heel of the promotion. You know, you have to be careful about that. You know, to be careful because he also defeated the featherweight champion and now is going to be top heel of the promotion because he defeated light fighters like Josh Emmett and Alexander Volkanovski. He has defeated light both powerful hands, and it makes it like the hardest hitters on the division. Max Holloway does not hit as hard because I always like it as power that makes up for the volume. And he's one of those wrestlers, if you see it in terms of striking, put on the show with him that like just in case you're not beating like it is live and to still show a UFC trio. The most impressive thing not Holloway is not the volume, the striking, the relentless pressure. His ability has never been knocked out in his career despite going through many wars. It's taken someone to Gage to get it knocked down. It's going to be very close enough, or I guarantee El Topuria is going to be for the knockdown. And we got the co-main event because I'm going to talk about like the co-main event and the main event, but this is like the hardest fight to predict. Because on one hand, I believe that Chas Machibe has the championship talent, and what if the body has not failed you? Will be like a title fight against TDP with a decent chance of the capturing the fight. I mean, this was supposed to be happening in Saudi Arabia in June, but Chimae has to pull off it after a serious health scare that he posted like a look like not very confident. I mean, Robert Whittaker is walking the veteran in the middleweight division, who won the interim championship before losing to Adesanya. He's a very good technical striker with a good takedown defense for the last 10 years, and has only lost to Easy with TDP with the top dogs of the division. Because it's very difficult to predict something. Yeah, to predict very something, to pull in like to believe it very not enough. And so Whittaker is very tricky with the first 2 rounds. I bet it's going to be confident with gains like the confidence over the front of the fight that it goes against Shimei. I'll be very confident he gained like the confidence as fight goes for all labor that she made, but it's not even the energy to execute or light to the pre-strategy for the 5 rounds. I mean, Kazmat is a monster of the first round, believe me. But if Whittaker can weather the early storm, defend the takedowns, and it just like survives 2 rounds without getting finished, he can outlast an knockout against Alchimeo in the later rounds. Could happen. Couldn't happen at all. I mean, I'm not getting crazy right now. I'm not getting crazy, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. So, and I very apologize for like the technical issues when it comes to like the last live stream, but I think we have a great job to do like a preview between UFC 308, TNA Bound from Glory, and when it's spectacular, like which is Halloween Havoc. Yep. Because we're just talking about like martial arts, boxing, and of course, wrestling. And I just wanted to give like a shout out to my co-host Zion, and of course a special guest, Mets from the Mega Mets podcast. As no as to Mr. Snarv, but we love him. We love him as a brother, and you know, yep, we got a lot of great respect for him. And he belongs like he's one of the greatest one. He was one of the greatest one with a great sense of humor. Yep. And a great knowledge of wrestling. So I'm very excited about it. So I just wanted to tell you, thanks for joining us at the Combat Club episode number 24. Hit the like button, don't be a ninja, and subscribe. Hit the button, subscribe. It costs you free. It didn't cost you $1. It didn't cost you $5. It costs you free. Because this is a podcast with 100% attitude. We can fight everywhere, anyone, anytime. Because that means because that speak a lot of great things in mixed martial arts, wrestling, and boxing. And believe me or not, because the UFC 308 is going to be at 2 p.m., which is Eastern time in the United States. But I have a great feeling that probably this weekend, I gotta make like a great surprise coming up there. Big things coming up there, but I will not showing like at anything tomorrow. So thank you guys for joining us for this episode of the Combat Club, episode number 24. And of course, I will see you there at the next time in the next episode of the Combat Club. Salute to you. And we're out of here. And don't forget to subscribe to the Big Blue Crew Sports Network. Zenith, my co-host, and Capitán Rafucho. So thank you very much. And I will see you there next time at the next episode. Let's go.